everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a beginner's guide on needle felting. So we will be working on different shapes and all the different tools that you'll need for it. So hopefully you enjoy. So to start needle felting, you only need a few simple tools. So to start off with, you need a brush mat or a piece of foam or polystyrene or even an old sponge works well. So you just pop on your piece of wool there, and that's just the base where you can stab your needle into. You will then need a needle felt needle here. So as you can see there, it's different from a normal needle as it's got tiny little barbs on the end there just to combine the fibres together. I would also recommend, it's not necessary, but I would recommend having a thimble or two spare, because with these barbs, they are very sharp and it's quite easy to catch into your fingers. So just to protect them, I would recommend having a thimble on hand. And lastly, the wool roving that you will need. This comes in all different types and colours, depending on what you need for your project. I'd also recommend, if there's anyone who's more advanced or is thinking about doing this more long term, to get yourself a set of different needles. So they come in all different sizes here. I would recommend starting off with a 32 gauge or 36 gauge needle. So that's just starting your piece, or if you're looking at doing a bigger 3D piece, those are good to quickly pop it all together. It goes all the way up to a 42 gauge, and this is for more finer details and to make your piece neat and have a nicer finish on it. I'd also recommend, if you want to do this more long term, to get a multi-tool. So on here, there's 5 needles on the end there and a piece of plastic just to protect the needles and yourself. So this is really good if you want to get through the wool quite quickly and build up your shape very quickly. I would recommend getting one of these just as it reduces the time. So to start off with, we'll be making a needle felt pom pom ball there. So I'll be making mine in a orange colour. So all you'll need is the brush mat and a needle felt needle and the colour of roving wool you'll like to use. So I'm going to be using this orange here. So to make the ball, if you just get your roving wool and very gently pull that apart there. You never want to cut into the wool as it ruins the fibres. You always want to just gently pull it apart. Now for these balls, they actually use more wool than you think, so it's always good to have quite a lot more than you'd normally have. You can always add to it, but I'd start with more than you'd think you'd need. So to start, if you just pop the wool onto the brush and just gently start folding it together. I tend to twist it in all different ways, just making it as firm as possible. So it just saves on the time later that you'll need to use the needle felt needle. It's just making it nice and firm into a ball shape. So I start off like that. While holding it together, if you get your needle felt needle, and just very gently stab into it. You don't need to go too hard with this or go too deep into the wool, just very gently going along the shape. Just need to go far enough for the barbs on the end there to catch the fibres. So if you just keep on turning the ball around, just making sure you're getting the whole shape there. You also want to make sure when you're going through your wool that you're going at a 90-degree angle. You don't want to start twisting it because it will bend the needle and it will snap. So just make sure you're always going at 90 degrees. Just a gentle 90 degrees stabbing motion. I also find it can be useful just to roll the ball in your hands just to get the fibres together a little bit more. Pop it back down again and just continue stabbing. So I then just have a look and see whether I'm going to need some more wool there, and it's definitely going to need a little bit more as it's nowhere near big enough to this one here. So I'll just get my extra piece of roving wool and just wrap that around there as tightly as you can and just continue stabbing it. So you can just keep on doing that until you've got the correct size. So I tend to make these pom-poms about 1 inch wide. So you could also make these pom-pom balls or other shapes in a different way. So you could use polystyrene as a base there, so it's just a little bit quicker. All you need to do is get your wool and pop it over the top there and then just stab into the polystyrene. Again, this is quite useful to have if you're a beginner and you just wanted to get started, as the polystyrene is a great base. So you could also use a filler for it. So I like to use this as the center. Again, you would just take a piece off and do exactly what I did before by folding this all up into the ball shape and stabbing it until it's nice and firm and round. You then can just add whatever color wool roving you would like on top. So you can just put that wool on top there and stab into it. So this is quite good to use so that you're not using lots of your color. It's just a great base to have, and then you can choose whatever color wool you'd like over the top there. But I just like to use the wool on its own. So just keep on working through until your shape is nice and firm. So if you're more advanced there and you have more needles, you can switch to your other needle size. So for this one, I'm using a 40 gauge needle there. So this is just to finish it off and neaten it up a bit. Just need to make sure you're careful with this needle, as it's slightly smaller and slightly more delicate there. It's just literally to smooth it all out and finish any small details that you may have. So there you have your end shape there. It should feel quite firm, so you know that you've worked it enough. You can just keep on going with it until you're happy with the shape and the smoothness of it. I tend to finish mine with some small sharp scissors just to get rid of any of the excess fibres here, or you could even use a lint remover again just to make it nice and smooth there. But as you can see, they're about the same size there, and there you have it. So you can do these in all sorts of different colours. So here I've got blues and purples and whites there. And these are just great to make into garlands or any design that you may have. They're very, very simple and don't take too long to make. So to make a needle felt heart, you'll just need your brush mat there. And get myself my needle. So there I'm using a 36 gauge needle for that. And I want to make it into a purple heart. So if you just grab whatever colour you like, and with the wool, all you need to do is separate it like that. Now I like to use a mould or a cookie cutter, just so that you can get it all the same size and same thickness there. But you can do this completely freehand, or you can draw out your shape and just fit it to that shape. But I find the cookie cutters are quite easy to use, and you're going to get the same size pretty much each time, as you can see with those hearts there. So with this, I just pop the shape onto my brush mat. I get the roving wool there and I just fill up my shape. Then with my needle, I just gently stab, which will slowly combine the fibres together. Now with needle felting, it does take a while for all the fibres to combine, so it will take a little bit of patience with it, but you'll just keep on going until you find your shape's beginning to get a bit more firm. So as you can see there, it's sort of compressed down further into the shape. So we'll need to add a little bit more fibre to fill it up again. So again, get my roving wool, gently pull it, and then you've got a little bit of a piece there. And again, fold it into the shape. And with your needle, carefully just stab at it. Again, just be careful where you're putting your fingers here, or if you need to, use your thimble just to protect it. I find it quite relaxing to do this. So if I'm having a stressful day, it's quite nice and simple to pop this all together and just stab the needles. Great to get out any anger or anxiety you may have. So you'll be able to begin to feel that the shape is beginning to get more firm and it's getting a bit more difficult to get your needle through into it. Make sure you're going around all the edges. Might actually need to get a little bit more wool. Especially if you're using a cookie cutter, you'll need a little bit more wool around the edges because it seems to sort of taper out, so I would suggest just getting a little bit extra there to put around the edges. So once that's a bit more firm, I just recommend flipping the shape over. As you can see, it's got a lot more fibres hanging out there, so you'll just need to work on that to make it less fluffy. So I'm really beginning to feel that it's firming up now, but it's still a little bit more fluffy on the outside, so I'm going to just keep on working until I've got a nice neat shape. If you do have more needles, feel free to swap them out. So I'm going to go to a 40 gauge needle. So that will just neaten up all the fibres on the outside, but you'll have to be a little bit more delicate with this one as the needle on the end is a lot finer and a lot shorter as well. So once you think your shape is nearly done, I'll just take it out of the cookie cutter there. Just show you what that's looking like there. So it's still a little bit fluffy, so I'm just going to work on it a little bit more, but you can definitely feel that it's firmer. It shouldn't be squishy at all, it should be firm to the touch. So that's when you know you've meshed up the fibres enough for that. So now I'll just get the needle just to neaten up all the edges there. So I then like to just go over and try and smooth the edges. So you can just keep on going until you're happy with the final result. If you want it a little bit more smoother, just keep on stabbing at it until it's at the consistency that you want. There you have your heart shape. It's very simple to do. You can do it in all sorts of different colours. So for mine, I've done a rainbow design and used different colours of roving wool to get that effect there. You can make all sorts of shapes once you've mastered the pom-poms and the hearts. So I like to use the cookie cutters or moulds, so you can make all sorts of different designs there. So for example, this star shape here, I've made there. So again, using the same sort of principle, but with this one, I decided to use the filling there to start it off, and then I just finished it with a yellow wool on top there. As you can see, again, it's quite firm and quite nice and smooth there. So you can do all sorts of different shapes and designs and just take it further. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that was helpful to any of you who are starting needle felting. If you do like this video and want to see more of it, please comment down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.